Just
No, it would have to be like half an hour late.
Welcome to On the Internet with Jason, a podcast where we explore the latest headlines, news, and interesting topics we find on the internet. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining us this morning. I was just telling the guys I got not one, but two coffees with me. A lot of you might not know this, but we actually recorded an hour and a half session in a single shot, and then we split that up in many different ways for your guys' enjoyment. But thank you for taking the time to come check this out. So I need two coffees to kind of get through this. Today I have with me Mr. Jeff Tessier. Jeff, what's up? How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good. And then I have the Austin.
Good morning.
Doesn't even flinch at it anymore. He knows he's the Austin.
It's just everyone. Hey, other people got their Beyonce. We have our Austin. How you guys doing? What's going on? It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been fighting a cold, but always surviving otherwise.
You know what? I got to be honest with you guys. You know, this is like my favorite time of the year. I don't know when this is going to air, when it's going to go out there, but it doesn't really matter because we're getting really close to the holidays, and you know, we're just set for Thanksgiving right now. But this is when like marketing like just starts to explode. And just everything out there. So I love watching everything that's going on and stuff like that. And I love this particular podcast because we get to cover anything that we like or see. So what do we got? We got news, we got articles, and just frankly, whatever the hell we thought was entertaining.
Headlines.
Headlines. God, I love headlines. All right. So what headline, Austin, do you have for us first this morning?
Yeah. So in the spirit of Black Friday, Amazon released a statement that they're going to be, I guess Hyundai will be selling vehicles on Amazon starting in 2024. They aren't going to sell like directly to Amazon. It's going to sort of be, they're going to connect you with a dealership in your local area. But
yeah, they don't deliver it to my house and just like take a picture and then send it to me and let me know my car's arrived, right? Okay, making sure.
Right. Just yeah. So
no, I don't get this like monster Amazon box like in my front yard, right? Like this that doesn't happen.
That would be really cool.
It would be bad. Wouldn't that be badass? Like I actually think they should do that. I think the car should show up in a shipping container in the shape of an Amazon box, and it's just like the flap just, and then I want someone to take a picture, and then I get that ding and letting me know that my car's arrived. When I first heard this, like the first headline, I was like, that would be fun. Anyway, so yes, it's really more amount of connecting people to people, right? This is people helping people, right? What's that from that movie? What's the Wedding Crashers? It's people helping people.
That's right.
What do you think this means for the future of the auto industry, I guess?
Look, I think it's cool. You know, I didn't really, think too much of it. I almost kind of looked at it as what it felt like to me when I first read through the article was it felt to me like it's the Costco program, just different. I don't think a lot of people realize, but there's, a Costco has had this automotive program for many, many years, and through certain OEM partners, you can get additional discounts and deals if you're a Costco member. And this to me felt like just the Amazon version of that. So, when I pay, what do I pay for Prime? I don't know. What's Prime these days?
$100 like per year.
Is it really? I thought it was $59.99. Am I really paying over $100?
Well, you're American too, so it might be cheaper for you.
Yeah, it might be different.
I think we're paying like $89 here a year plus taxes or something like that. $99.
It's like a Costco membership, right? I mean,
basically
in the same wheelhouse, of having kind of this membership. So I don't know. When I read through it, I was just like, oh, okay. So this is like the Amazon version of the Costco program, which, by the way, I think will be cool. Which the Costco program, there's not a whole lot to it. You pretty much, I don't even know if most people even know that the Costco has a program. It's like when when you're done, in buying your, your truck full of crap, and you're on your way out, and the one guy that like pulls open the 4 foot long receipt and somehow goes, "Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, it's all there.
that looks good." By the way, I can't. Sorry, I know I'm going squirrel, but like, what the heck? You open up a 4 foot long receipt, you take about not even 2.5 seconds, go, "Yeah, you got that," and then hand it back to me. I'm like, "Really? That works?" That works. Like
Is it
Amazon,
just for show? Like, what is that for?
yeah, but I mean, Amazon, like I don't know, you guys know this, but like, they have some stores in they're fully unmanned stores, and I've seen what was it? I was in an airport, so I go up to it and it asks me for I scan my Amazon account. So like I scan my Amazon account, I walk into the store, I walk around, I grab stuff, and I literally walk out, and then I get a ding. Right, you got charged $16.97. Like, you know what I mean? But Costco, well, they still got a guy that's going to check your 4 foot long receipt. Anyways,
Crazy.
the Costco program is a 6 foot standing banner that's about 2 feet wide and 6 feet high, and it just kind of stands there. Nobody actually ever notices it. So I actually do think, but it does work. Here's the funniest thing I thought: the Costco program does work. It's worked very well for Ford. I know it's worked very well for Chevy. I just recently saw Volvo and Polestar actually getting involved into the Costco program. And it's funny how, and the reason, guys, I'm saying this is because how horribly marketed it is, and how it does quite well. Now, the reason I say that is because I think Amazon is not going to have a 6 foot standing banner on your way, checking out, where the person takes your 4 foot long receipt and just says, "Yes, you have it." Right? They're going to be way more smarter about this, and I think they're going to do really well with it. I actually think they'll do really well with it. Now, combine that with just how sexy Hyundai products are getting. I don't know, Austin, while we're talking real quick, can you pull me up a picture of the 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe? But just like, and then also maybe, I don't know if they have it, but what's the Ionic 5? That's their EV.
Yeah.
So they made this. So the Ionic 5 is, I think, one of the ugliest EVs out there, to be totally frank with you, right? But they went and made an N version, which is a performance version, and it comes out next year, and I think it has almost 700 horsepower in this absolutely ugly looking car. So like, I think Hyundai, I love Hyundai. I think Hyundai, I just giggle. You know what I mean? But the new Santa Fe,
Wow.
look at this thing. Like,
Badass.
and I think that's more of just rendition. Click on the white one, or the top left corner there. That one right there. I think that's the one.
This is
The
the
prototype.
2024. Yeah. This one's
Yeah.
definitely real.
There you go. There you go. Jeff. That's a Hyundai,
It's nice.
right? Like, that looks like a Range Rover. In fact, actually, the front end looks better than a Range Rover. Anyways, probably gonna get some comments for that one. So going back to this program, Amazon, all right, since Costco fumbled their way and was quite good in their program, I think Amazon is going to crush it with their program. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. I can see why Amazon went with Hyundai first. Hyundai, I think, as a company, has probably made one of the larger commitments to digital retailing than, I would say, maybe some of the other OEMs. I'm not saying other OEMs haven't made commitment to digital retailing, because they have, but Hyundai was really, really fast, and they really, really invested and enforced it at the dealership level, that every dealership embraces this digital retail mentality, not in the sense of it just being a tool, but an actual process that needs to be executed at the dealership. Hey, Shane, what's going on, man? I would hold on. Let me throw this up here. I gotta throw this up here. Here we go. What does it say? I can't read because my
Would worry if Amazon buys Carvana.
then they actually become the distribution. Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what? The funny thing is, if you look at what Carvana is missing, or not what they're missing, but what they've struggled with is in that vehicle distribution. Being able to distribute those vehicles across the country has always been a difficult thing. Like than other issues with paperwork and legalities of wet and digital signatures and blah blah blah, all this other stuff they've dealt with over the years. But I mean, if anybody is going to kind of say like, "Here, hold my beer," and watch me do it, yeah, it would be Amazon. So I'm with you, man. If I would be worried too if Amazon bought up Carvana. Um, you know, the funny thing is that would actually fit within their margins as well. Amazon, but would Amazon do that, or would Amazon kind of maintain what they maintain right now of having this seller mentality? I think Amazon would. I think Amazon would kind of maintain this individual seller mentality. So I could see an Amazon dealer program where, as a dealer, just like right now, like I can be an Amazon seller. I can go and create my Amazon store and become a seller and sell whatever I want to sell, right? Um, I think dealers will have an option, and if I was Amazon, that's probably the model I would go with, because can I get 30,000 dealerships to give me a few $1,000s a month, to be a part of this program, and then upsell additional marketing and stuff. Yeah, why not, right?
I think
Um,
Amazon would literally do whatever's best for the customer. Like I think that's always their goal, is to do whatever's best for the customer in the quickest and most efficient way. And like, haven't they taken like sort of the carrier courier logistics in-house in some degrees, where they've bought their own fleet of cars and bought their own
Mhm.
sort of
oh yeah, they bought
trucks
their own
and,
fleet of
and delivery
cars. They
vehicles.
bought their own
So
fleet of EV vehicles. For me, where I live, it's all the EV trucks. Like they're all electric delivery trucks. These big electric delivery trucks with these really funny looking eyeballs for headlights.
that's really cool.
Excuse me.
But you know what's funny though? I did actually see them during the winter, and I think it was because they were having infrastructure issues. I was at the mall really early one time, and there was like 30 of them out there, and they're all plugged into this like big like shipping container looking thing. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I drive a little closer. It was a monster generator.
Oh wow.
They had this monster generator sitting in the middle of the parking lot of this mall, and they had like 40 of these trucks hooked to it. And I'm like, I don't know if that. Wait a second. The smoking.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, like I'm excited. I'm excited. You know what? When I see people that I think, and to your point, Austin, actually, your point's really, really good here, and I think anybody out there watching, listening, should kind of take note of what kind of Austin brought up there is that if you were to think of any company out there that you would call, you would describe as being very customer centric, Amazon would definitely be one of the ones that I would consider. I mean, I'm actually having an issue right now with the purchase I made from Amazon. And I'm in this chat with the seller and and Amazon's kind of facilitating this amazing conversation between me and the seller. And, it's kind of like there's this kind of, the seller's like, well, I'm not going to piss off Amazon. So what do you want? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they got a pretty strict set of rules you got to follow if you want to be
they
a seller,
do.
right?
They
So
do. Well, and Costco has that same thing too, right? If you're going to
yeah.
sell, if you're going to be Samsung, you're going to sell a TV there. If you're going to sell something there, like they have a very the reason I love buying TVs at Costco. By the way, I only buy my TVs at Costco. Why? Because they all come with 2-year warranties. You don't pay extra for it. They all come with 2-year warranties, right? But that was a part of the requirement. All right, that if the manufacturer is going to sell at a Costco, this is what you have to provide. Anyways, anything else on the Amazon thing? I mean, yes, very customer centric. If anybody's going to do it really well, it's going to be them. And I guess why, if I was a dealer, should I worry about this? Maybe if I'm a dealer that cares maybe more about myself than my customers, yes, I should be worried about it. But if I'm already a dealer operating and all of my processes, my people, my technology, and my marketing efforts are customer centric, and my culture is customer centric, then I actually think, hey, embrace Amazon with open arms. I
Yeah.
think it'll be cool. What else? What other headlines kind of popped up this week, Austin?
So this is a Bloomberg article, and they're saying among new car buyers, those carrying negative equity on their trade-ins were underwater by an average of almost $6,000.
Oh man, fuck! Knew this was coming. We all knew it was coming, right? Like we all knew this was coming.
Wow, it's only going to get worse.
Jeff, you've dealt with this for a long time too, man. What do you think? Like,
Well, I mean, if you remember, during the peak time of the inventory shortage, there were dealers charging premiums, in stock premiums, right? Rates then quickly climbed up to 5, 6, 7, 8%. So if you've got a $5,000-$10,000 in stock premium plus you're financing that at 6, 7%,
yeah,
that customer when he comes back in 2 years, 3 years, he's going to be looking to buy a car, and it's going to be utterly scary. 6,000 seems awfully light to me because I remember when I was
6,000, dude, is just the beginning part.
yeah, it seems like because when we were selling cars, we had quite a few customers that it was average 5, 6 to me, I thought, but
Well, you know what? We can deal. But you're right, though. I mean, like we can deal with.
you could add another 20 to 30% of the car.
But
Then you're encroaching on what though? You're snowballing. You're extending another year, like 8 years, and what now? What's next? 9 years? And we talked, I think, the last time about these balloon payments. I don't know. This is getting scary.
it's getting scary, and I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the tip of the iceberg. You know what I mean? Like when you think of an iceberg, when you see it sitting in the water, really what you're seeing is only about 20% of, or not even 10% of its mass. The entire rest of it's sitting underneath it, and that is literally what is happening here, guys. And it's going to happen over the next 24 months, like it or not. Some markets are going to be more affected than others. Some brands are going to get more affected than others. Some dealerships will be more affected than others. I think it does kind of base on how you operated through that COVID. Remember COVID, that kind of that rock, drop the rock into the water, that ripple effect. And now we're getting to the point where this is one of the ripples that we knew was going to happen. When we were selling cars $7, $8, $10, $15, $20,000 over MSRP, we can't do that without someday dealing with that shit. Like,
Gotta pay the piper at some point, right?
exactly. Like, hey, if you're one of those dealerships and you're doing it and you're one of those salespeople and you made a ton of money, congrats, but you screwed your client. I don't care what you said. Oh, but market demand. It's supply and demand. I don't give a shit if it's supply and demand. It still doesn't change the fact that we now have to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like just because you feel like, well, supply and demand says I can do this, so I should do this, and you wanted to use that as an excuse, or you wanted to use any other excuse, all right, to do stupid stuff like that. Here it is, all right. We're seeing just the tip of this iceberg, and it's going to continue to grow from there. You're selling it, yeah, yeah. It's look. I'm trying to not get too negative about this. But like I said, and it's going to vary. See, here's the kicker. It's going to vary very differently. It's going to vary between manufacturers. It's going to vary depending on like regions across the country. All right. It's going to also depend also on the dealership itself. Like this is going to impact everybody in a very, very different way. But here's the bottom line. If you're watching and listening to this and you pride yourself on being a proactive dealer and proactive in your operations and your process and your technology, then, you need to be having a conversation. Like, be the bloody Boy Scout, be prepared. I think that was the motto. Yeah, I remember. Hey, we got a cool comment from Sean Cross. What does Sean say, Austin?
It would have been way worse prior to COVID sales. Then the market exploded on used, getting a lot of those negative equity customers out of their loans. Then after 2020, the market shifted.
Let's talk about Ford changing their EV pricing structure. Again, coming with it from the 6th of December. Hey, no, I know. We can talk about Farley as much as you want. That's funny. We don't talk too much about Farley on this podcast. That's probably because when I do Jim Ziegler's podcast, we talk a lot about Farley. So it's probably, I'm usually Farley'd out. But you know what? We could talk about EVs in a sense as well, announcing, they're, lowering their qualifications, to their top tier EV dealers and stuff like that. And um, I think that particular one, Sean, the one you just brought up, is just like, oh shit, did I really do that? And kind of having to go back and fix it. I'm not too worried about it though. It's funny. We talked about, I think not this podcast, but maybe a couple other podcasts ago, where we actually saw some headlines where people were saying, EV sales, or confidence. It was EV confidence in consumers were changing, and but then it's funny, you look at other market trends. Like I was at a conference recently with Polk Automotive, and they were reporting, just dramatic increase in EV sales. In fact, they were reporting EVs and ICE vehicles almost to be at par by 2030. So yeah, I'm not going to speculate too much because I do want to go back. I lost my train of thought. I went down a rabbit hole. Thank you, Sean, for the rabbit hole. I always appreciate a good rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, there was that period of time with the used cars where you were able to offer a customer more for their vehicle, right?
Well, that
But
again,
and then maybe
it was an excuse for
offering them,
overcharging. Well, hey, I'm paying $3,000-$4,000 more than I normally do for their trade-in. So me charging $10,000 MSRP, it's a wash. It's okay. It's not. It doesn't change the fact, all right, that they're going to come back with this major. So going back to that negative equity, proactiveness. We need to be prepared. We need to have the conversation. Right now, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. That iceberg is going to show its ugly face more and more and more over the next 12 and 24 months. Is your dealership prepared for it? Are you guys prepared to deal with more non-prime business? All right. Are you guys prepared? And do you guys have a plan to deal with much bigger negative equity situations? What does that look like? Anyways, I digress. Go ahead. What else we got for headlines?
This is sort of along the same lines, but talking about that EV conversation, the prices of an average Tesla Model 3 has decreased by more than $9,000 since 2021. And yeah, that could be hitting on the same thing you were just talking about, how they were overly inflated. Now they're sort of readjusting.
Hey, look, everybody took it. Like OEMs took advantage, dealers took advantage of it. I was, very adamant that it was a stupid idea. I like to play for the long run, but hey, it is what it is. It happened, right? Bottom line is we have to deal with it. Now, Tesla's a little different because, and you can look up the stat for me, but I believe almost 90% of Teslas are leased, if not maybe over 90% of Teslas are leased. So them having a higher price, the only offset is going to be, it's going to be quite smaller in the sense of just what's the difference in the market value and what the vehicle sits at that point in time when the vehicle comes back. But they take them back anyways, because doesn't he plan to turn them into automated robots that are going to control the world anyways? Like, I think that's why you don't typically see a whole hell of a lot of them, being sold on aftermarket stuff, right? Is, they're almost all leased. So anyways, so EVs, what was this specifically? What was the headline here specifically about EVs? The price drop, right?
Pricing.
Well, next year, if I remember correctly, in Austin, I think we talked about this before. Is it 24 or 25 new EV vehicles are being released next year? Or the next 2 years?
Are they?
I think that's how many new EV models are being released over the next year. I believe it was something along that line. So you can fact check that for me. It makes sense. Look, EVs are now competitive, so we're going to have to change some pricing. So I think there's them having to change their price and lower their prices. I think two parts. One, because it was just a ripple effect from COVID. Two, all right, we just need to be more competitive now. There's more competition, and I'm going to be honest with you, there's better looking EVs out there than the Tesla, and with much higher quality, builds and stuff like that. I was in what was it? What's the Volkswagen? The ID4. I was recently in an ID4.
Oh, yeah.
I would take that over a Tesla any day of the week. The fit and finish in that thing was amazing. I also find the same thing with the Kia. the EV6. And speaking of Kia, they got a new model coming out, the EV9, which is going to be their SUV. So like there's a lot of new models, coming out. And, Tesla, they're going to be interesting, with better looking, better build quality EVs coming. Where does Tesla sit? What do they do? I mean, like the Model 3, the way it looks right now, I don't think it's fundamentally changed in how many years? What would you say, Jeff?
5 or 6, I think.
I mean, no, I think more, but yeah, I mean,
More?
you're right. I mean,
I would at least say 5 or 6.
yeah, I mean, the Model 3 just fundamentally hasn't changed, right?
More than 50 EVs expected
50.
to join in 2024.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You're going to see a huge pop over the next couple of years, right? Between models coming out and companies as well, right? Various manufacturers. So it's going to create a more competitive market where they're going to have to review that pricing structure that they've got. So what is the starting price of a Tesla 3 then,
Yeah, what is it now?
Austin? Because weren't they like 50 something before? Just gonna check.
And then after this, I do. Sean brought up a couple. Thanks, by the way, for participating today, Sean.
38,990.
Wow.
Down from 40,000.
Well, look, here's the interesting thing. As more vehicles get in there, more pricing becomes more competitive. This kind of segues into what Sean was saying here in the comment boxes. Around Ford, not allowing dealerships to market below MSRP. I hear like this next week or something like that. I think it is. So in all pricing is going to go directly through Ford, and then really the dealership is just going to be the facilitator. I mean, it sounds to me it's like I honestly don't think that process is going to last long. To be totally frank, I don't believe it will. I think Ford will find out real quick that they think it's an easy process to facilitate, and it's not an easy process to facilitate. But yeah, we're going to see. We're going to here are manufacturers entering into the EV market, and they thought they're going to be able to enter into the EV market at this price point. Now all of a sudden, shit got competitive. All right. Tesla's dropping their prices. These guys are coming out with less expensive ones. So, you think people like, for example, I think when the Ford Lightning came out, what was a Platinum? I think was what, $90,000 or over. That's around $90,000 US. And I think over $110,000 Canadian or something like that. I mean, like that's guys,
It's heavy.
It's an F-150. It's an F-150, right? And so I think what they're realizing is that they thought they can maintain a certain margin, all right, on these EVs, but now to be competitive, I mean, Austin, you just said it, 50, not I mean, guys, brand new models. So 50 vehicles that we didn't even have as an option. Now, I'm sure some of those are probably weird and they're not going to be mainstream and so on and so forth, but like 50 brand new models getting brought into the space, that's going to make shit competitive. So yeah, Ford's trying to do something about it. I'm sitting back enjoying every moment of me watching it because Jim Ziegler hates me saying this, but I am a EV lover. I like my EVs. They go fast. By the way, that Hyundai Ioniq 5 N model with like the 700 horsepower or something like that I was talking about is supposed to retail for $70,000.
Wow.
Hey Jeff, you want to buy a $70,000 Hyundai?
I'll take 3. Jeez.
Okay, what do we got? I got Sean jumped in. He says it's still $98,000 actually. The Lightning's still 98 grand MSRP. Like, God. Look, it's okay. I think it's manufacturers figuring this crap out. Sorry, you pull up. You got this pulled up. I want to see what are some of the. You were looking at some of the new EVs coming out this next year. Austin, any of them catch your eye?
Yeah, there's a lot of really unique ones for sure.
Oh, the Volkswagen bus. I want it. Sign me up.
Alfa Romeo.
Wow.
Apparently, Apple's got a Titan
Yes.
EV. Audi A6.
Oh, is that the Audi e-tron? I do like an e-tron.
Yeah,
It did. I actually
that's gonna be
actively
insane.
like e-tron.
Bentley,
Oh, I
BMW.
read an article where they ripped up that Bentley. $500,000 and like it has the same range as like a Nissan Leaf.
I was gonna say I was well out of my price range.
Look at this one. That's cool.
Canoe?
That looks like one I would own. It's like,
Goodness gracious.
hey guys, look, I know we're going over our time. We have gone over this time, but this has been such a great topic. So I imagine we'll continue to always talk about EVs. Austin, these are some great headlines. There are some good headlines. If you're out there watching, though, look at these headlines. If you kind of look at the few that we've taken a look at, a lot of them had to do with just being proactive, especially when it comes, especially with the headline around negative equity. If you guys don't have a strategy right now from a fixed operation side, a variable side, a finance side of how you're going to handle this, and look, it's just a matter of asking yourself the question, what does it look like when 10, 20, 30, 40% of our customers start showing up with negative equity in, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000.
Unresolvable.
We saw the banks already get super tight and nervous, and some actually bounced out of the automotive space. This is not going to help them, their confidence with automotive financing these big negative equities. So get ready. And when it comes to EVs, get ready. Figure out how you're going to be competitive. 50 new models coming next year. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this. William, Sean, everybody that's dropping comments in down below. If I missed you, I apologize if I missed you. Really appreciate you guys' involvement today. Thank you. And we're going to jump to our next show. So stick around. It's coming up right after this.
Thanks for tuning in to On the Internet with Jason. To stay up to date with all our content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.
Hey.
Welcome to the Coffee with Jeff and Jason podcast. Tune in for freshly brewed discussion on everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your hosts, Jeff Tessier and Jason Harris.
What is going on, everyone? One of these days, I'm actually going to get these transitions right, but that's okay. Look, I am Jason Harris. That is Jeff. Oh, where am I pointing? Over there. That's Jeff Tessier. Right. That one right there is the Austin. All right. He is our Beyonce. Thank you for joining today's show. This is Coffee with Jason. This one's kind of fun because this is where we just get to talk about anything and everything we want to talk about when it comes to the automotive industry. We do have other shows. We definitely want you to check out our other shows. Make sure to check out strategywithjason.com, where our other shows are posted, where we get to talk about other things like news and headlines, and we get to talk about marketing and all kinds of fun stuff. Guys, I have 2 coffees with me because I'm ready to really get into it. If I'm bouncing around a little bit, deal with it.
Blame it on the coffee.
Blame it on the coffee. It was the caffeine. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Excellent.
Good. You still on coffee 1 or how you doing
I'm
there?
almost done with coffee 1, and I'm going to move my way to coffee 2. You know what? Do you remember, Austin, when we used to do the series After Hours with Jason?
Yep.
And instead of coffee, it was beer. Kind of glad we don't do that series anymore. That series got a little bad, and I don't know if it was beer or bourbon or what was it. It was kind of, I guess, a mix of everything. But by the time you got about 30, 40 minutes into that show, that's why those episodes, by the way, are like an hour and 20 minutes long. All right. Today, Coffee with Jason. What are we jamming about
All
today,
right.
man?
Let's jam about sort of the state of the industry, how it's the auto sales are slowing down, new car sales slowing down. You got interest rates to deal with. You got people not having as much disposable income. It sounds like dealerships are going to have to maximize their profits in sort of other areas of the dealership. Um, Sort of like, what are some strategies for maximizing a customer across various departments of a dealership?
Maximizing customers across various departments. You know what? I actually dig this topic because this is not a topic that we have typically talked about in the past. You know, um, most dealerships, and I'm going to say most, but it's practically all of them, with the exception of some very few out there that perceive their operations this way, is that the transactions are very um, let's see, what's the word I'm kind of looking for. They happen on different islands, right? Meaning that we measure our transaction, we measure the customer's value to us based on what they spend when they buy a car, what they do when they are going through financing, then over to service, and then what they might buy in accessories and so on. And we don't typically look at the customer from a holistic purchase, meaning what is that purchase going to do to affect my entire business versus what that purchase is going to do just to affect my variable side of the business. And there's a lot of reasons why we don't do that. I mean, I think off the top of my head, one of the biggest ones is I'm going to blame the OEMs for this, because the way that they have put bonus structures in place in the past that really just don't encourage a holistic approach to the margins or the profitability of a customer. But we have to break our profitability margins by transaction, by department, rather than looking at from a holistic approach, because it just comes down to that numbers, like the volume game. But anyways, I won't go down that rabbit hole. But Jeff, when you first heard this, that's where my head went. My head went is how can we change our mindset from having this kind of like ping pong type, approach to what the customer's worth to us from a value perspective, versus then kind of looking at hey, look, this customer is going to buy this. They're going to finance this. They're going to service this. They're going to get this. Looking at it from a big thing, which, by the way, I think digital retailing, and I might go down that path, I think does actually support more of a holistic department type approach to a purchase. But when you first heard that, Jeff, what was your thoughts? What did you think?
I'm thinking of the long term, right? Instead of thinking of the short term, what are we making today?
Yeah.
How do we keep this customer coming back, right? It's not stuff you sell a car today, the guy's going to service with you probably for the next 2-3 years. Where do you really start making money on the service department? It's years 4, 5, 6, and 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your game plan to retain those customers, right? Are you offering tire storage? Are you proactive in reaching to your customers to pre-book appointments and reminding them of services and offers that are relevant to them? Reaching out about declining services, performing walkarounds on every car and giving a report that shows the condition of the car. I mean, we're not using it as a tool just to make a sale of $4,000 a day. But we're looking at a plan for the customer. What can we do to make sure that your car is going to be reliable for you for the next 2 years, a year, to while we get through this, high interest rate period or whatever it is that we've got to work on. And that to me is a long-term plan versus focusing on, like you said, these small numbers where, I got to have my hours per hour at 2.6 and I got to have my this here and this. What are you doing to actually elevate through process and make sure that that customer is long-term? Because I'll tell you right now, the first 2 years, there's not much. And especially as we cross into this EV or PHEV splits, there's even less maintenance to be had on vehicles. So we want to make sure that we're looking in that long-term picture and getting those brake sales and those tire sales down the road.
Well, and that's why I think tools like digital retailing. I mean, at least that's where I saw the huge value in digital retailing because of this particular reason, right?
Mhm.
Because digital retailing allows me to map out the entire purchase for my customer. Now, let me break that down. So you have the variable purchase, right? And then my margins on that. I can include all of my financing and warranty. So all my F&I in that, and I can see my variable margins in that. All right. I can sell a service plan in digital retailing, and I can understand my variable on that. And I can easily, in a good digital retailing situation, I can easily present, all right, tires and accessories, and also account, that. So here I am with, if I use digital retailing as a process, not just a technology, but I use it as a process. All right, I can actually look at the customer's entire deal holistically, all right, through multiple departments. Now, for us to, as an industry, for us to, to look at that way and to benefit from that, all right, we have to fundamentally change our pay plans, and we also have to fundamentally change the way that we approach, because the way that we've approached our operations is built in silos. It's built in silos. I mean, literally, like, you deal with the variable department, then I'm going to kick you over to the F&I department. And the F&I department, may or may not kick you to the parts and accessories department. More likely not. All right. And then I'm going to kick you over to the service department. I want to see, like, I mean, how, like, Jeff, think how impactful that is going to be, and think how important that is, especially now since we're going to be dealing with, higher interest rates, bigger negative equities, and stuff like that. Show me the entire, all right, profit of a customer across multiple silos. All right. And then as a business owner, let me make the decision that is that makes most amount of sense for us as a business. Right. We got, anyways. I'll get off this because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to say shit that I'm going to get in trouble for. But you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you see where I'm going with this. I would love to see oh man. But you know what? Our technology doesn't, so yeah, we might have a digital retailing solution, but then from a reporting mechanism, our technology is not designed that way. Like, CRMs are not built that way. DMSs aren't built that way. They're not built to report, holistic gross margins and profits on an individual versus just the transaction. We're still a very transactional company, or transactional operations. And I think we have to, I think, to your point, to what you were asking, Austin, I think for us to break through and deal with, what's coming, and name me off a few of the, because you had a list of stuff we were dealing with. So it was trade-in prices, it was negative equities. What were some of the other ones? Interest rates. What were some of the other challenges we have right now?
Yeah, interest rate, the fluctuating car prices. You got people having less disposable income, more reproductions, or more repos. Yeah, just people not buying as many cars because of the economics of the situation.
Yes.
And I think that's what's interesting about that article that we talked about before with Amazon, or Hyundai selling through Amazon, is people are going to be able to do everything sort of through Amazon, where they're going to be able to do their financing, choose financing options through Amazon. And
Right.
it's sort of like a digital retailing service, obviously. And they're going to be able to choose like what's available in their local area, and choose the sort of pickup or delivery options all through Amazon. So it's very interesting.
Well, and again, I mean, it's that does kind of approach a holistic approach. Okay, I'm not going to bang this drum too hard. I think I've said what I've had to. Like, I mean, I know if look, if anybody out there, watching and listening, you want to DM me, I'll go farther down this rabbit hole with you one-on-one. But I do believe that as an industry, we need to eventually evolve from a transactional approach to our operations to a holistic approach in our operations. And that means breaking down, these these silos and having a one company mentality, a one department mentality when it comes to servicing and selling the customer. And when I mean by servicing, I mean not servicing your vehicle. I mean servicing like serving them, serving the customer, right? Anyways, okay. What else you got for me? Yeah, it's a good one, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah. So getting back to this whole online disruption thing, so I guess there's a few options there. A few mindset options. You could either embrace this whole possibility of online sales or manufacturers going direct to consumer, and sort of play with Amazon in that example, and sort of like maximize your relationship in that way to make sure you're in good graces with Amazon, and sort of however they want to do the sort of interaction with dealership and Amazon, sort of accentuate that. Or you could try and fight it by, I don't know, sort of going your own way and sort of figuring out a way to not be disrupted by these new innovations. So I guess my question is, how do dealerships navigate this whole possibility of direct to consumer, and sort of how do they either embrace it, or do you sort of maximize the in dealership experience to not be disrupted?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about direct to consumer, because I think people hear it, all right, and they don't realize that there are multiple levels when it comes to direct to consumer, right? You can have direct in the sense that in what I think most people think when they think of direct is that there's no one in the middle. It goes from the manufacturer directly to you. And I got to be honest with you, what a lot of people don't realize, that's actually very rare. And in not just our vertical, almost any vertical. All right. You might have the perception.
Apple doesn't even do that.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like it's very, very rare and very uncommon to have a real, true direct, direct from manufacturer model, right? There has to be something that facilitates and all the processes and everything in between. So I hate when this term comes up, because I don't believe anybody has a direct manufacturer model, right? Direct to consumer model, right? There's stuff that has to be facilitated, and especially when it's something of this size of purchase.
You're not buying a shirt or a bar of soap. You're buying a car, right?
Yeah, but even talk about buying a shirt, right? Like, I do buy my shirts online. I buy my shirts through a company called Indochino. All right. They are a company out of China, but they have fitting rooms. I go into the fitting room. They measure me again. I'm not going to admit, but my neck got a little bigger this last year. Damn, my 40s. Anyways,
It happens.
Does it though? Jeff doesn't have to. Anyways, okay, but I go in there and I can touch and feel the fabrics. All right, I can see the colors. All right, I get my measurement, and then I order my 16 shirts and I walk away. Actually, not even 16. Let me actually correct that. 6, because I own 27 of these. So there's the handful of conference I go to every year where I actually need to put a shirt and tie on.
But do they manufacture them or no?
Yeah. So then it goes up, and then it still goes. So there's still this middle person. You know what I mean? Like there's these fitting rooms, and I don't know exactly the model, but I think the fitting rooms are more of kind of like a franchise model. Do you know what I mean? So they call it direct to consumer, but I don't know. You know what it is? To me, it's a marketing message. You perceive a better deal when you don't go through a middleman, but everybody goes through a middleman, right? I'll tell you the only time you want to know the only thing I do that I know is direct from the manufacturer. There's a farm about 16 miles away from me, right? Where they have grass-fed beef and pastured chickens. My wife's listening to this. Anyways, no, I won't go down there. Anyways, I'm not going to go down there. But this is the type of meat we have to buy, and we need in our home. So like I drive to the farm, all right, and I'm like, yeah, that's the chicken. Can you go ahead and slaughter it for me? But otherwise than that, there's no such thing. But I think the perception of it being direct is a great marketing opportunity. Anyways,
Yeah, like you'll probably see more like the Hyundai and Amazon relationship. Like that's where they have a middleman that's going to facilitate the vehicle purchase more.
Well, and it's no different than kind of what on the last show we were just doing. Some of the comments down below were talking around Ford, and how Ford now wants to control the pricing of their EVs, and how EV kind of facilitation of the price happen at the OEM level, and then the dealerships are just going to be kind of, they're not using the word, but really it is what it is. They're just going to facilitate, all right, the actual delivery, which it's not going to work. But yes, there's just no such thing, as kind of direct to consumer. What's the statement again?
Digital retailing. I think, though, for me, digital retailing or these direct to consumer things are letting the consumer go at their own pace. So some consumers might already be at stage 8 in the process of journey and buy, right? Other customers might be at stage 1 and stay there for a while and bounce to 2, 3, 4, back down to 1 while they make up their mind. So that gives the customer the decision making in the comfort of their own home or wherever they are, to allow them to go through and actually feel comfortable about the purchase. And they're making these choices on their own. So they're not, if they need an interaction with somebody, they can ask those questions. But to me, if you're seeing it online, you feel more confident that somebody's not pulling the wool over your eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? And at some point, you still need an interaction at the dealership, whether you're going in for the test drive or the final purchase, because you may not feel as comfortable doing that online. But a lot of customers might feel more confident in themselves to select their own options and feel less forced into taking whatever car it is in front of them at the dealership, right?
I'm digging exactly what you're like. I'm feeling the vibe that you're laying down here. All right. In the sense of, really, what does it mean? Like, I'm trying to put myself back into the consumer. So let me play consumer. All right. When I hear direct to consumer, okay, what you're telling me is that I don't have to deal with the asshole at the dealership that I had to deal with last time. I know people aren't going to like me saying that, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if I'm putting myself in the consumer shoes, you tell me, all right, that we are direct to consumer, then what it is the manufacturer, to your point, Jeff, is handling the process. And I don't have to go through that 5.5 hour car buying process that I did last time, where I got stuck into a box and someone tried to, sweat me out and sell a bunch of crap. And then I spent another 3 hours negotiating, whatever the price was, right? I think the perception behind direct to consumer is this predefined experience or process that the manufacturer has dictated, not the dealerships dictated. And if you hear your OEM using those words more on a regular basis, don't blame your OEM. It's your fault. All right. The perception of coming directly to you to purchase, all right, doesn't look that good compared to where the consumer's perception of directly going to the manufacturer. It sounds better. Does it mean it's different from a pricing perspective or a margin perspective? No. Right? What it means is that I don't have to deal directly with you. I can go deal with them. Now, the funny thing is it's not going to work out that way, and people are going to find out real quick that direct to consumer. Anyways, all right. I'm done. I'm off this one. What else do you got, Austin? I stumped him. We got you good. You thought I was going to go longer on that one, didn't you? Hey, it's okay though, because we're getting towards the tail end of our time, so we can wrap this one up. I went over in the last one, so we can do that. But look, here's the bottom line, and I want Jeff to jump in this too. It's just kind of your final thoughts on kind of what we've discussed so far during this session. Is direct consumer? Is it is it really the sky is falling? Is it really the sky is falling, or is it just a marketing message? And when the dealership hears the word direct to consumer, what do you perceive? But then put yourself in the customer's shoes. And when the customer hears the word direct to consumer, what do you think they perceive? Like, you gotta understand, guys, this is a game of perception. All right. And if you want to win at this, then you need to win at the game of perception. Jeff, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I would say to embrace it as well, right? I mean, this is an opportunity that we have to, sure, there's the worrisomes of, oh well, if that consumer gets put to another dealer, then we're not selling the cars. But at the end of the day, if you're embracing it and putting that as part of your daily process and improving your sales by way of that, cross customers and whatnot, that's going to all balance itself out in the end. So don't fight it. To me personally, the consumer is looking for that. We need to give what the consumer is looking for. And if that means even changing our actual processes within the dealership, we need to adapt to that. And that, I think, is the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, my grandfather always used to say, "Do not bark the hand." No, sorry, do not bark. Do not bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
Right. And I hate to say that, but I feel like there is, we've been doing that for many years. So there are some out there watching, listening, that don't do that, and very much so respect the hand that feeds them. And what I mean by that, the customers that do business with them. But I do still believe that there is a large amount of dealerships out there that do bite the hand that feeds them. And there is a perception that goes along with that. Now, when it comes to perception, guys, and this will be my last thought, and I'll finish this off, is perception is not reality. Okay. Perception is what someone perceives, all right, is going to happen when they show up at your dealership, right? And when their perception of a direct consumer experience is better, what they're telling you is that their perception of your experience is not good. Now, really what that might come down to is the fact that you just don't market your experience. Now, I know I could turn this into a whole marketing thing, but I do really want to make this super clear, because the manufacturers are better at this than we are. All right. The manufacturer will do a better job at marketing the experience. All right. I know that there are some amazing dealerships out there that have amazing in-dealership experiences, but I only know that when I come into your dealership. That is not a part of your marketing strategy in any way or form. All you're doing is marketing a $250 biweekly payment, and that does not speak to me as a consumer. I'm looking for a price, but I'm also looking for experience. And I think right now, for most consumers out there, all right, they're more and more looking for an experience first, price second. I'm sure I'm going to get comments on that one. Okay. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching the show today. Really appreciate your time. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, got to make sure you check out strategywithjason.com, where we put everything on there. Also, make sure to check us out online, anywhere you can be social. All right. We are there. Strategy with Jason. Thanks, guys, so much. You have a great day. Say bye, guys.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to the Coffee with Jeff and Jason podcast with your hosts, Jeff Tessier and Jason Harris. Don't want to miss out on new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting. Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Strategy with Jason. I'm Jason. That is Jeff Tessier, and just above that is the Austin. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hey, Austin, I was gonna say something. I noticed a little something extra on your face. Is that
This?
is
I usually have
yeah?
this.
Is it just looking a little darker than usual, or is it
I don't
just
know. Is it?
yeah?
I
I
didn't
don't
do anything
know.
differently.
Oh, okay, all right. I noticed that a little earlier, and I didn't say anything, but
Maybe
I didn't know
it's
if it
my
was it
winter
a
color.
November. Was it a November? It's a winter thing. Now you okay? You
Yeah,
want to talk
my hair
about
actually
winter?
changes during the winter. Yeah, it gets darker.
It's darker. Okay, you want to talk about a
Yeah.
winter beard? You got to get Jeff to show you his winter beard that he did a few years back. I mean, Jeff went
Oh, the
full
Santa beard.
on, full freaking Santa Claus. I mean, I'm talking like out to his chest. Like I remember one time we went out
Nice.
and like we went out for lunch and like I mean half his he was still eating after we left the restaurant. Pieces, he's picking out pieces from his beard. I mean half the lunch ended up in that thing.
Yeah,
You gotta find a picture of that, Jeff.
I got some pictures somewhere. I'll find them and I'll give them to Austin. It was crazy. Like 6 months growing, it was down to, like you said, about halfway down my chest, and then I bleached my hair
That's
silver
right.
white.
Mm,
Gosh.
The hairdresser couldn't do the beard, so I had to do that at home myself. That hurt like a mother. I didn't know how bad that was, and the smell, and it was terrible. I would never do that again, but it was
why does it
really cool.
hurt?
The kids actually got a kick. It burns your skin
Oh, gotcha.
because it's too your face is way sensitive, right? Your head's not as it's not as bad, but
There's not as many like sensory points in your head than there is your faces.
oh my god. But yeah, it was all white. It was quite crazy.
I tell you, he went full Santa. It was the year he did that part-time gig at the mall, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a tough
That's what it is.
time. Oh, my daughter was 3 and Hudson was 4 and I had bed at the time, right? And trying to sell the Santa Claus thing. It worked pretty good.
Is my dad Santa Claus? Is my dad-
And you remember the movie The Santa Claus, right?
I
Or
know.
whatever it's called with Tim Allen. They honestly we started watching it around the same time and they honestly thought that I was Santa Claus.
Because your hair was changing colors and your beard. Oh, now that shit's funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we won't just talk about beards on this podcast, but if you're out there watching and listening, thanks. If you got a picture of an epic beard, please post that down below. I am actively looking for the best beard in the automotive industry. Come NADA, I will have something for you. So if you are just, we'll put that on here. If you're attending NADA and you have the best beard, I need you to post that. We are going to do something. There will be an event just for you. No, I'm just. Anyways, okay. Strategy. All right, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about strategy. We're going to talk anything and everything we want to talk about strategy. But Austin, you got a specific strategy that you would like us to jam about today. What is that?
Yeah. So I don't know if you caught it, but or not second last F1 race was a new one. It was the Vegas Grand Prix for the first time ever. Well, second time ever, first time on the strip. They
That was something
revamped
to
it.
watch, wasn't it? That was cool race to watch.
It was awesome. Yeah, super impressive execution. They dropped like $500 million to make that happen, and huge investment. You had to shut down the city with all this construction, and I don't know if you saw some of the stuff. They literally like over the Venetian fountain and stuff. They had to build like grandstands. Like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, it's
I saw it.
crazy
I was there
construction.
actually because they started building it over a month ago. So back in
Yeah.
was it October, yeah, back in October they started building it, and I was there, and they'd already started building the grandstands over the fountain. Like it was crazy, looking crazy. Anyways,
Yeah, insane infrastructure. But anyways, it got me thinking about the strategy of F1 and sort of their goal to infiltrate the US market, and sort of all the strategy behind that must have been quite impressive, and it seemed like it paid off. Like it was a huge gamble that may not have if the race didn't really go well, but it seems like it definitely is a positive thing in the long run. So my question is, if you were tasked with sort of increasing the fan base in America, and sort of like where would you create a new race, or what would some of the strategies be to get American fans interested in F1?
was the first thing that went through my head? I remember as a kid, it was a thing, and it's kind of a thing, but it wasn't really. It's not as big of a thing as it was back when I was a kid. Is certain brands would take over airplanes, so they would partner up with with an airplane company, United or Frontier or American or whatever, right? And they would wrap and paint these airplanes according to it. I remember Disney did it for a long time. SeaWorld had one when SeaWorld was actually a thing. And and whales didn't kill trainers. Stuff like that. And that is I mean, I know how crazy it sounds, but when I think of F1, I want to think of something fast. Right. And what is something fast that actually real people can experience? And the fastest thing anybody really experiences is an airplane. Right. I would go out there and I would have McLaren have their plane. I think Red Bull needs to have theirs. And I would literally get, F1s, plastered on the side of airplanes across the country, and almost kind of like even make it a thing, anyways. That's where my head went first, right? Like, what's fast that everybody participates in? That's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for anything that's fast, everything that's fast, right? And associate fast with F1 because people like that, Anyways, what do you, because if you're not first, you're last, right?
Where would you make the next? Where would you make the next Grand Prix?
Okay, I would do it. Joplin, Missouri.
Sorry, what?
Very random.
But that's why, right? Like, I would make it like Disneyland. Do you see what I'm doing? Like, it would be, I don't know. I just picked Joplin, Missouri.
F1 World.
Exactly. That's what it would be. I would pick some random place where literally the state would grant me the land, give me 30 years of no taxes, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I would find a place that, it needs it needs something. I got to look for an airport, make sure it can actually support the tourism. But, why be Las Vegas? Why go to Las Vegas when you can be the Las Vegas? Do you see what I'm saying? And why does F1 have to be this once a year thing? I would make it a Disney thing. And people go, well, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. Have you been to Legoland? Like, let's take the stupidest little kid's toy out there, all right, and turn it into an amusement park, and it works, right? You're taking something that and you're making it life size. You're making it in, and I think that's what you can do. Like, here's the thing with F1s is like it's Disneyland for older adults. You know what I mean? It hits the little kids in us. Like, look, I'm never gonna be an F1 racer. I'm never gonna be able to go that fast. But man, that sounds like a series of roller coasters I want to go on. Jeff, you?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
right. I want to go. I want to go as fast. I want a roller coaster that goes as fast. I want a roller coaster that does 300 kilometers an hour.
That'd be insane.
Can I get that? Can we order one?
Face would be through your back of your head. The G-forces on the turns, yeah. No, that'd be pretty neat though. You think of like Cedar Point.
Hey, Nick just came on. Hey, Nick, what's going on? He just said hi. He says great memories from Vegas hanging out with Austin. Oh, there's some stories there. Speaking of, yeah, we all got our Vegas stories, right?
Happens in Vegas, stays there, boys.
Well, and you know what? Why go to Vegas when you can be the Vegas, right? And yeah,
that's a little bit what they've done with the Vegas one. They're making it into like a permanent F1 sort of event. Like, we're not to the level that you're talking about with a theme park, but it's going to be an experience year round where F1 fans will be able to have sort of experiences within the paddock that they built there permanently.
Now let's translate that into dealership world, right? Like, no, I'm not asking you to go wrap an airplane, and I'm not asking you to build your own amusement park. Even though I would, I mean, I I will say though, like any car dealership out there that does build a roller coaster on their lot, I'm not gonna lie, that would probably work. I actually have no idea what the cost of a roller coaster is, but I'm pretty confident that's going to get national attention if you have a roller coaster built into your dealership. But anyways, um,
That'd be pretty extreme.
that would be pretty extreme. What's the cost of a roller coaster? I don't know. Anyways, I'll shut up. But
It'd be
okay,
cheap.
what we're talking about here is we're talking about really elevating an experience, right? Think of this. So think of this is similar to F1 racing. You buy a car once every few years, right? It's something that doesn't happen very often, right? Like F1 races don't happen that often in a singular space, right? But so think of this as like, but I want to feel that experience. I want to feel that connection. So how can I make the experience of purchasing a vehicle go beyond just the transaction? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know, guys, that doesn't mean an amusement park. Maybe.
As much fun as that might be.
Okay, so what's the Subaru? And I can't remember the name of it. There's a Subaru dealership, and I believe it's in Oregon. This was years and years and years ago, and I could be wrong. It may not even exist anymore. All right. There was a Subaru dealership that the owner of the Subaru dealership was also, let's say, very health conscious. Okay. And he, because he was building a building and where he had a Subaru dealership, there wasn't a local gym. So he actually built a gym above the dealership. All right. And as a part of purchasing a vehicle, you also got a membership to this gym that actually happened to be above the dealership. And so the gym was, and also there was other reasons. I remember reading the article many years ago about this. There was other reasons he did it. He wanted to create a culture around health, mental and physical health, and so he kind of originally did it for his staff and himself. But then he opened it up to customers, and customers started to be a part of it. So think of this: you go buy a car, and then the next week you're sitting there, doing lifting weights with the guy you just sold a car to. Talk about relationship building, long lasting relationship building. Anyways, I think that there is a version of that. All right, for any dealership out there to extend the experience beyond the transaction. God, that sounds like a good name for a book. Maybe I should write that one, Austin. What do you guys think? Can I do that as well? Can you imagine me writing a book? That would be so ironic because, like, I don't read. Like, if you guys don't know this about me, I don't read. Now, I do listen. I listen to books on audio on a very regular basis. I mean, all the time practically. But I am not a reader. So that would be very funny if I wrote a book. But I think there is something we can really kind of unpack there in a pretty big way of going from moving beyond the transaction and extending it into an experience. Jeff, when you kind of first heard what Austin was introducing, what were your kind of thoughts, and how do you think we can kind of go beyond the transaction and into a longer lasting experience?
It's a tough one. I mean, like what you said already, you've got to really look at things for the customer, what you're doing when they're coming in to see you. How is that experience what you've put online? Because a lot of guys are trying to say they do this, but do they actually do that when they come into the store, right?
Sure.
Or is everybody on board? Have we tested it? Have we listened to our consumers to see if that's what is really working in our store, or if that's the direction that we're personifying, right? So
Mhm.
I think, to me, it's an investment of time to make sure that you've got the right processes in place, the staff that are embracing those processes and understanding why and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, I think the gym is a great example of that. I think there's many other variables out there. I do know a handful of dealerships that do maintain community rooms inside their dealership. That's one thing dealerships always have a pretty decent abundance of space. And that space is not always being used to the fullest capacity. So I do believe there's other options out there like that. I do know of a dealership or that does have a community room, and that community room is regularly being used, for senior Tuesdays and Mahjong Wednesdays and whatever else.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like it's,
Good.
I know that I remember because he actually sent me a picture one time of a knitting group. Like it was like, I didn't know actually there. I didn't know there was such a thing. When he told me, I was like, oh, okay, you're funny. But like, no, there's actually groups of people that get together and knit together. And it's, hey, I get together and drink with people, so why not?
Yeah, I'm not knocking it.
Anyways, yeah, I think that's where I want to go with that. I think kind of going back to the F1 thing, them turning it into an experience. I think us as dealers need to kind of look how we move beyond the transaction into experience as well. What other strategies you want to go over? What else you want to dive in today, Austin?
Let's dive into if you were given the brand Blockbuster, what would you do with it, or how would you revive it?
If I own the brand Blockbuster, I would probably turn it into a t-shirt brand. I am convinced that I could probably get 100 million Americans to wear a t-shirt that says Blockbuster on it. I would 100% embrace the nostalgia side of it. I would have a website allowing people to register and get their free Blockbuster card just so they can have it. Like you know what I mean? Like I you know what I
The actual like membership card.
yeah, just to have it, I would give it away for free. Like I would that's what I mean, that would be my draw, right? And it's like you can order Blockbuster cards for your kids or whatever. Just like just to have that nostalgic card, it would be funny. Do you think it'd be funny? I mean, I think it'd be funny. I mean, I'd be like, wait a second, I can get a Blockbuster card? It's like, yes, you can get a Blockbuster card. But now maybe what maybe what I do with that card kind of goes beyond. See, okay, now Austin, you got me going, right? Like, what does this card mean? Like, what is like? Can I turn it into like a Costco thing, or can I turn it into like a membership type of thing, right? Like, let's bring the Blockbuster card back, right? And you can get discount off the Blockbuster swag. I think Blockbuster is 100% swag, right? I can see T-shirts with like all the famous quotes from movies from the 90s. Like I want a shirt that says like Blockbuster will become like an entire clothing line. There'll be a shirt of like the Goonies going, "Hey you guys," and then there'll be that Blockbuster logo, and that Blockbuster logo will become a clothing line. And then the
make an NFT, Blockbuster NFT.
No, because it has to be that. It's got to be that physical element, because that is the nostalgic part of it, right? Like the people with NFTs, and don't get me wrong, I like NFTs, so please don't think I don't, right? But that's not the brand that you turn into an NFT, right? Like that's it. Blockbuster is tangible. It's physical. It's in your hand. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. I mean, I would sell everything Blockbuster. I mean, I would sell Blockbuster shoes, Blockbuster shirts, Blockbuster car. What am I trying to say? What's the thing that you hang on the windshield that makes your car smell good? What am I talking about?
Air freshener.
Air fresheners. I would sell Blockbuster air fresheners. Thank you. I would sell Blockbuster air fresheners. Like, I just that Blockbuster name and logo is so iconic that I know I could turn it into something that people are just going to want to own and wear. And then the card, this physical card, I'd have to do something with it. I don't know exactly what, but I know there's a card. And I don't know, maybe you know what, maybe it's a credit card. I don't know. Maybe this is where my head's going, because it seems like everyone's got branded credit cards right now.
That's a huge thing. Tim Hortons has it up here now, for crying out loud.
I'm saying, like, I would make the Blockbuster credit card, but I'd make this credit card look exactly like the Blockbuster card. Like exactly like the Blockbuster card, right? But it would be a credit card, and I'd join Visa or American Express and, do something with it. And it's like, you have this Blockbuster card, and then you get all these advantages, and, it could be, concerts and movies and what. Anyways, all right. So you didn't prepare me at all. That is literally my first 45-second thought.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit. Do you know about like there's like a Board Ape Club? It's like an NFT thing.
Okay.
They're like the biggest, most expensive like NFT project or whatever. But that's kind of what they do. They have like whoever owns those NFTs, they have like this event that people can go to. There's music, there's
Yes.
swag, it's this whole like club, like this close knit group of people
Yeah.
that yeah, you feel like you're part of
You're 100%
part of the
right. I would
group,
have
part of the club.
my own concert series, and of course, the concert series would be all like '90s bands and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I would make Blockbuster, the epitome. Like when anybody thinks of like the '90s, they're going to associate this brand, and I think a lot of them already do. Hence the reason why I think I'm really that close to it. It's like late, '90s, late 2000s, like that whole time frame. I'm just yeah.
Would you have what was it, like those commercials with a rabbit and like a hamster or like a guinea pig or something? Have like life-size costumes of like
Damn straight
mascots
I
like that?
would, 100%. Why not? Right? Like I think I could have Blockbuster bars and restaurants. You know what I mean? Like I think similar to Hard Rock Cafe. All right.
Mm,
I think Blockbuster is actually a bigger brand than Hard Rock is. All right. And, like I would try to go buy up all the Hard Rocks, all the hotels, all the restaurants, and then turn them all into Blockbusters.
Oh,
No different than what they tried to do with Planet Hollywood back in the 90s. Remember that?
yeah.
Those are all gone. Yes. I think Hard Rock as a brand can die, and Blockbuster would be the new version of it.
yeah, like there's definitely some sort of like experience you could create there. You know how they have like in Toronto they do this a lot where they have like those Van Gogh experiences, and it's like his art in like a very like sensory way, and like this very interesting room where there's all the
Yep.
artwork around. But you could have some sort of experience where it's like a Blockbuster experience where you're going through
100%.
the story of all the
Walking
movies
through the
and all
aisles,
experience.
trying to find a
Yeah.
movie, looking behind it. Oh shit, there's no movies there. It's out. I'd come back next week, or you check a couple hours later, going up to the front, asking the lady, can you check the bin outside? I really want to watch this thing. Can you go check the bin outside and see if someone returned it? Like
Yeah, and they have like that for The Office as well. They have like a bunch of like Office, like the set sort of design and stuff. They have that for a lot of shows.
100%. A Blockbuster themed, restaurant and bar 100% makes sense to me, right? Like, like it's, like how like, let's say from a restaurant perspective, how badass would it be if you go through and you pick out your VHS that you want to watch while you're eating, and you go to a table and you stick it in a VCR, right? And you can have a movie playing at your table, while you're eating. It's the Blockbuster experience.
Jeez, that'd be weird.
That would be cool. You would do it, wouldn't you?
Oh,
would
for
do it.
sure. My kids would wonder what the heck I'm doing.
Like,
What do you
is
mean
this?
you're not going on to Disney? They know how to operate the remote and get onto the Disney Channel or the Amazon Prime account and watch whatever they want to watch. They've never even seen me put a DVD in anywhere, let alone a VHS.
Right?
They would wonder what the heck that was.
Oh, that's a good one, man. I think I would have a lot of fun. I mean, you thought I would have fun with F1, dude. I would have some fun with Blockbuster. I legitimately would have some fun with Blockbuster. Where do I want to go with the Blockbuster thing as far as automotive dealerships? And I do believe, you do have some dealerships that do embrace, like, manufacturers have a level of nostalgia with them as well, right? Cars definitely are nostalgic. And, there are ways to also tap into that. It's not uncommon for me to go to a car dealership and it's a Honda dealership and, I'll find, a 1960s, Honda Civic, or they didn't call it the Civic at the time, but whatever. It's, an old Honda sitting there. And I remember I was at one dealership that actually had, I think it was a Mustang, and they had one Mustang for every decade. There. So you can kind of like see the evolution of the Mustang kind of going through it. And then you have, Jeep. I mean, Jeep, come on. It's a nostalgic brand in itself. I mean, who doesn't remember somebody at some point in time in their childhood that owned, a wood panel Wagoneer, and, driving around in that with no seatbelts and crap falling all over the place, nostalgia is definitely something that can be embedded into a dealership, and it becomes and here's the thing that why, similar to my Blockbuster card, why people would want that is because people identify themselves based on their nostalgia, right? Like they it's kind of like it's like a stamp. It was like, I was a child of this era because I didn't wear seatbelts. Like I was a child of this era, because I remember 3 on the Tree. If you're not a car person, you don't know what I'm talking about. 3 on the Tree was actually a transmission. You had 3 gears on the actual column. That's how you shifted. But I'm really dumb. That's totally not my generation. But you know what I mean?
Way before our generation, Jay.
way before our generation. But you could talk about like, hey, I will stamp myself because I remember buying leaded gasoline, not unleaded. But there's that nostalgia to it, and I think dealerships can actually own that, and it's fun. Nostalgia is fun, right? If you're looking to introduce some fun into your dealership, and you're not quite sure how to do it, play the nostalgia role. Watch the multi generations come in and shop for vehicles, and and have one of the generations go over and say, "Hey, look, son, that's the one that came out when I was your age." All right. And now that son's or daughter, whatever, is buying, the newest version of that. Right. Like there's just, and not all brands can do that. Right. It's not like Hyundai's got nostalgia to it. So like, I think if you are of working of a brand and you're not tapping into the nostalgia story and fun and emotion that your brand comes with when you purchase the franchise. Because look, guys, you didn't have to do anything to do that, right? Now, with that said, actually, I do know some dealerships that have been operating for such a long time, right? I know a Ford dealership that was one of the first Ford dealerships, when Henry Ford started selling cars, and there's a nostalgia element to this that, 6-7 generations have been buying cars from this exact same location, and how the location has evolved over time. And, and I remember this particular Ford dealership also had like a cafe, like a 50 sauce cafe in it, where you can actually get a cream soda, like an actual proper cream soda, anyways, I digress. But nostalgia is huge. Going back to the F1 thing we talked about earlier, it's about the experience. How do you take something that happens once, hence the transaction, and turn that transaction and go beyond the transaction to experience? Talk a little bit about how that Subaru dealership built a gym on top of their in their space, and just the transaction happened, but the continued experience goes way beyond the transaction. I know there's many, many different ways that people are out there currently doing that, and there are ways you can do that. Yeah, that's what I got for this strategy session. I think this was a good one. Jeff, is there anything you want to add before we kind of close off this one?
No, I think we covered it all. Thanks.
Right. Hey guys, really appreciate you taking the time to jam with us today and deal with my kind of convoluted, caffeinated mind. I was kind of bouncing all over the place, so thank you for that. But hey, if you enjoyed this content though, and you'd like to check out more content, please check out strategywithjason.com, where we put all the content there. And you can find us anywhere on social media or where we can be social at Strategy with Jason. Thank you so much for taking the time to jam with us today. You all have a great day. All right, say bye, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.